The last of the early voters filing through polling sites on this election eve, some waiting hours to exercise their right to vote. Our Nate Rogers spending the day hanging out with those who stood in those long lines.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott and Don. Good evening to the both of you. Listen to this, guys. The early voting did end here at 6 o'clock, but as soon as we arrived here within the last 20 minutes or so, we caught an election official walking out. That election judge told us that there are still between 15 and 20 people inside at this very hour waiting to cast their ballot. It is indeed a historic election where so many people want their voices to be heard. It's the tedious game of waiting, something these early voters are destined to do.
2.5 hours. It's necessary for our republic, so.
Igor Raka and her 9-year-old daughter, Queen, left a longer line on the city's north side. Do you mind waiting in line with your mom?
Yes.
You did? Were you in line for a long time, Queen?
A little bit.
Krista Wolf was in and out with her mail-in ballot.
There's a secure drop box here. Just walked in, dropped it off. Took 1 second.
Yeah, easy.
Easy.
Wait times here at Union Park's Fieldhouse ranged from 45 minutes to nearly 3 hours, depending on when you joined the line. But once inside, election officials say folks were done in 10 to 15 minutes.
So many judges. So, 2 pages worth. Referendums that I'm not exactly sure matter.
High voter turnout is expected this election season, with more than 70% of Chicago voters predicted at the polls. Of course, all eyes on the presidential race. Sade Ogunsanya worried about her student loans.
You know, you go to college, some professional college, and you feel like, oh, you're going to make all this money and things like that, but you still got all those loans.
This was a line just 30 minutes before closing time, some 125 people waiting. By late Sunday, more than 300,000 early votes were cast citywide. 160,000 mail-in ballots were reported.
I think the outcome of this election has a really big impact on where our country goes, and so it was important to vote.
And we do know that several precinct polling locations will have bilingual poll workers and paper ballots in a variety of languages on hand tomorrow. We do know that the election polls open at 6 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. That is the latest here in the West Loop. Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.